Hello and welcome to Asia Gaming Brief's face-to-face series. Today I'm talking with Hussain Naqi, who is the founder of Inside the Pocket and WonderWins. Now, WonderWins has just this week announced a collaboration with ESPN's digital cricket content platform in India to launch a daily fantasy sports app. We talk about the growth of daily fantasy sports in India and where the future might take the company. Congratulations on the launch of WonderWins.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit about what brought this around. You went from being an executive in the NFL to daily fantasy apps in India. Fill us in.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the opportunity to chat with you today. It really is an honor. It's been a circuitous route. I'm not going to lie. We started the core of the business as a B2B platform, actually, a company called Inside the Pocket, which is a free-to-play content aggregation platform for anything from operators to brands to teams and leagues to media companies. And we've gotten a lot of traction with that because, sort of with a single integration opens up a variety of different gaming options, free-to-play gaming options, and sort of eases the pinch on customer acquisition. And it was in that process of talking to a variety of different players in the market. We were talking to a number of folks, including ESPN in India. And, they were starting to talk about some of their needs within the fantasy space. And we were kind of flirting with the fantasy space a little bit in India, trying to explore it, trying to understand the contours of it a little bit better as we were looking at the space. And in a lot of ways, it was a very natural kind of marriage between Cricinfo and WonderWins. We have a really solid proposition. They're growing in the fantasy space insofar as trying to really beef up their content offering. We're embedding our free-to-play proposition within their app, within their site. And we feel like, as their content offering grows in the space, we can grow with them, and we'll do our sort of our level best, and we'll contribute as best as we can to help with that growth and help assist in making some interesting content for their readers as well.
And why India? What appeals about the India daily fantasy market?
Yeah, so I'm of Indian heritage, so it's been a bit of a siren song for me to engage with this market and figure out a way to contribute, whether it's to the economy. Our entire app structure and staff is based here. It was built here. So there's sort of a draw, this very sort of familial, natural draw for me. And as I say, Cricinfo in a lot of ways was the right partner. For us to move into the fantasy space, introduce a direct B2C offering in WonderWins, which is of course different to our Inside the Pocket platform. There are very few opportunities where you could launch a new brand to the numbers that Cricinfo drives and the kind of platform, the kind of really captivated and engaged audience that they have. So you'd be silly not to entertain it as an up and comer in space.
So what kind of numbers are we looking at here?
They drive upwards of 85 million AMUs. I mean that is a legitimate number of people being exposed to the WonderWins brand and us being able to interact and help, as I say, try to help supplement their already strong content. Right, they're creating a fantasy hub. They're creating a lot of content around the fantasy space, and we really feel like we can, if not being a tentpole, we can certainly move towards that direction as we mature and we grow the relationship together.
So this is a free-to-play app. How does the revenue generation work here?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the relationship with ESPN and with ESPN Cricinfo is with our free-to-play proposition, our free-to-play version of the game. We have a pay-to-play version of the game that sits outside of their ecosystem and is available on the App Store or available by download on an Android device. So the monetization is very, very standard in this space. It tends to be whether it's a platform fee or a sponsorship model or ad generated model. Those kind of things are fairly typical. It's a well-worn path in the space. So our free-to-play proposition within ESPN is just that. It is a free-to-play proposition. We'll use that hopefully as an acquisition mechanism, an acquisition tool for our other propositions.
Right. And obviously, real money gaming in India is very nascent as an industry.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges do you see there?
Look, I think obviously there are a variety of them, right? So the first and foremost is I think a trust question, right? Are we or any other actor in the marketplace a trustworthy proposition? Are we going to abscond with people's money, or are we here to stay? We obviously are here to stay, and we feel like the alignment with ESPN hopefully buttresses that sort of sense of transparency and trustworthiness that we want to really lead with. I think it is in a lot of ways difficult to sort of separate yourself from the many other very established offerings in the marketplace. So we have to do things like offer a second innings product, which is pretty rare in this market. We're introducing a relatively new proposition to the market. We have to differentiate our product. So you'll see in sort of quarters 2 and 3 down the road, we'll be offering games other than just cricket and football and in the fantasy space. So there has to be a constant evolution. We have to be sort of at that leading edge, and we have to associate ourselves with the right people and the right type of people. And we really feel like a partnership like ESPN helps drive that home.
Right. What kind of size do you think the Indian market? I mean, obviously, you just mentioned 85 million viewers for ESPN. In terms of real money fantasy gaming, what sort of size is the Indian market?
Yeah, look, I think it probably depends on how you're defining that. Whether you're looking at the fantasy space or the broader hyper casual games, it is, needless to say, it is massive. And even there are, as I said, there are a variety of very well established players within this market. But as you say as well, it's fairly nascent.
Just going to go back to something you mentioned before, just Please. Given for the non-aficionados in this area, what is second innings option?
Yeah, no, there's a certain shorthand to this stuff that I apologize for the industry speak. So effectively, there's an option whereby you can sort of join once a game has already started, or sort of after many of the other games in the marketplace have already closed. So it's a chance to effectively rejoin or jump in after a lot of the other sort of either or contests are closed or sort of cutoff times have engaged. So it's a real point of differentiation for us. I think there's only one maybe one other player in the market that does it. So we're really excited to offer it.
And so obviously India now. When next?
That is an open question, right? I certainly think that there's a lot of opportunity in Latin America. You don't have to look very far beyond some of the news that was made just even a few weeks ago with Sequoia and others moving into Latin America with a daily fantasy proposition, or at least thinking about that area. I think Africa is a really interesting. Obviously, it's not a monolith, but certainly certain countries within Africa, nor is Latin America for that matter. But certainly, the various markets within those geographies, I think, are really interesting spaces. Particularly if you think about sort of what happened with the U.S. as daily fantasy being a harbinger for other sort of mores being opened up. Maybe that's the case with other cultures. TBC. But if as they say, if past is prologue, then we might be onto something.
Anywhere else in Asia of any interest, or is really just India the only possibility?
We certainly have that flexibility, and we certainly would be interested in exploring that. I think some of that will be a regulatory assessment to understand what a particular jurisdiction's view is on a game of skill versus a game of chance. That's obviously a really critical nuance in this space. And so, for us, it'll be, and that's true irrespective of where we go. Obviously, we're not going to run afoul of any regulatory challenges. So, we need to make a sort of an honest assessment of where we feel like daily fantasy could fall within the spectrum, and to the extent that it's an acceptable offer for a given jurisdiction, we're more than happy to oblige.
So it is, like I said, a big change again. What does your background experience bring in terms of fan engagement, and how are you planning to drive that with?
Thank you for asking that. Look, I'm 47 years old. I have a lot of gray hairs on me, but I've been really, really lucky in my life. I can't thank my mentors enough, and I honestly pinch myself more often than not to think that I've been able to see the things I've been able to see and do the things I've been able to do. Who am I? And that sort of who am I mentality, I'm still a fan. At first and foremost, when I walk into a stadium and I see a field or a pitch or a green for the first time, or even for the 100th time, I'm still like, wow, I can't believe this. This is so cool. And I hope that wide-eyed, bushy-tailed sort of view of sports never leaves me. And I'm just as despondent today when my teams lose as I was when I was 10 years old. Hopefully with a little bit more rationality, but probably not a whole lot more. So I'm hopeful that I bring a fan's lens to the space.
Thank you for joining us today. Please join us every Friday for Asia Gaming Brief's face-to-face series of interviews with thought leaders in Asia's gaming industry.